A lot of things are really over sexualized, and a lot of dudes can't go a day without receiving some kitty. And a lot of dudes can't go a day without artificially receiving it from the sites. And arguably, that is way much more detrimental, and it arguably is the major problem towards things being over sexualized. So, first, the gym is really over sexualized. A lot of girls are obviously going in there with skin tight pants, showing off their booty. Some of them trying to go ahead and get attention. That's why you see some of the videos on here saying not to go ahead and ask out girls at the gym because, yeah, they're trying to go ahead and get attention by wearing those clothing. In my opinion, I do have more of a respect. And if I was to go ahead and ask out a girl at the gym, I prefer her to go ahead and wear more normal clothes. But this also applies to guys as well. Don't think you're left out too. A lot of guys are doing the same exact thing. Show it off your shoulders, show it off your chest, wear a tank top, wear some super tight compression shirt. It's the same exact things that the girls are doing. It's it's not different. If you're hating on a girl for wearing a skin tight pants and you're coming in here trying to go off and show off your shoulders and your chest, you're doing the same exact thing, bro. You're doing the same exact thing. There's no point in hate. It makes no sense why some guys could go ahead and hate on some girls for doing that, but they're over here doing the same exact thing, but it's the male version of doing it. If if you want to go ahead and stop being over sexualized, and if you're complaining about, oh, this the gym is really sexualized, everyone's trying to go ahead and get attention, while you're doing the same exact thing. You're trying to show off your shoulders, you're trying to show off your chest, you're trying to go ahead and get the attention. But the gym really stimulates from social media. Before I even get to social media, online dating apps are exactly the same. Guys are doing the same exact thing as well, trying to get attention. But when you go onto a dating app like Tinder, Bumble, the things that the girls are showing you are really sexual. They're showing you the booty pictures of the mirrors. They're showing you the pictures of them wearing barely any clothes. And guess what? That gets the matches on the dating apps. But you have to think about this from a more bigger picture perspective in that why are guys doing that? You think about online dating apps as well. There's more guys than girls on online dating apps, and girls get a fuck ton of matches on there. And that is because guys are really addicted to the sites, man. You think about the guys who are really lonely sexually and who are really introverted. This over sexualized thing, of course it affects extroverted people, but also affects introverted people. I am a 20-year-old virgin, and I have been practicing being celibate for the past couple of weeks, past 3 weeks. It's been going really great. But I really feel like it affects those people because they're going onto the sites, they're addicted to it, they're beat off. Even if it's not the sites, the softcore stuff on social media, the stuff that people get introduced to first on TikTok and Instagram, and later going onto the sites, that is stimulating them on the online dating apps. A lot of guys, where they're swiping where they're swiping the online dating apps, they are rock hard. They're a wreck. They're very horny, and they're swiping right on every single girl that they see that they could try to potentially go ahead and get some play with. And the thing is, since the world is really over sexualized, a lot of people are just focusing on it. A lot of guys too, in the gym and public, when they first see a girl, they're focusing on what they provide sexually first. They're focusing on what she could go ahead and provide in the bed. And the crazy thing is too, how crazy over sexualized this world is too. when you're watching some random video with some random girl in it, you're just imagining her sexually in that video. When you see the girl in the video, you imagine some guy like a Samsung like go ahead and recording making a video over a gym and some girl walks by. You're just thinking about her sexually. You're just looking at her butt. You're just looking at her in a sexual way when you're watching those videos. You're thinking about the potential ways to go ahead and have her in the bed. And unfortunately, that's just how over sexualized this world is, especially with gooning in 2025. This is probably the most peaked ever that doing sexual deeds have ever been out there before. I am someone like, I went to middle school in 2017, and in the course of middle school, you know how immature it is over there. You know how many guys like to go ahead and show you BBCs off their phone, just trolling and stuff like that. Imagine how it is now. I can't imagine going to middle school in 2025. Imagine being a kid, a young kid, 13, 12 years old, 11 years old, and you're seeing these gooning memes on your Instagram feed. You are destined. It's getting normalized now. It's getting normalized to go ahead and just goon. They're calling it a goonicide because the guy who originally went to the drive-thru, he ended his life. He had a wife, he had a kid, he had a nice car, and he made a poor decision. And unfortunately, the sites do have a major role into that, in doing that poor decision. If he probably wasn't addicted to that site in the first place, which is mind-blowing to me, that he has a girl, he has that guy who he ended up in his life, he had a girl that he could go ahead and go crazy with. He had a wife, but he was still doing these things. He was still on the sites. And people like to say that, oh, the sites are not the thing that's causing it. If he was that exposed to the sites, I don't know how early on it was for him, but if he wasn't, he probably would not even ended up doing that poor decision in the first place. A lot of things are over-sexualized, and since a lot of things are over-sexualized, it's making people do poor decisions. It's making people lose their drive. It's making people lose the beauty of the simplistic things in life, like the grass, like the sky, like the trees, like this plane going by. Like that plane right there, that's pretty badass. But a lot of people are just avoiding that because a lot of people are just overstimulated, and especially when it turns to talking to girls, a lot of people just get desperate for trying to go ahead and talk to girls like myself. You probably have been desperate trying to go ahead and get with a girl, maybe on the online dating app. I even remember myself. I was messaging this girl on an online dating app, and I had zero experience. She was like 5 years older than me, but she was more leading the conversation because I'm just trying to get some experience. I don't have that much experience. I am a virgin at that point. I lack girl experience, and yeah, we ended up conversating. We were trying to get on a date, trying to set it up and stuff like that. But eventually, it led to a point where the messages turned a whole entire different way. And the way that we got to get really sexualized through the messages. And yeah, I ended up sending a picture of my meat size and my meat, and she wanted me to go ahead and send a video of me shooting my load. And I go ahead and ask her, yeah, go ahead and send me something so I could go ahead and release to, which is super hyper, which is going down the wrong path. automatically. But prior to that, too crazy. Oh man. So when I usually will have a opportunity to get some play with a girl, the thing that I will end up doing is beating off to their pictures already, because I couldn't control the emotion. I couldn't control being horny in that moment. That I'll go ahead and just yank off to their pictures. But going back to this girl, she ended up sending a video of her going crazy with her ex, and it's obviously she's having trouble getting over her ex, because she still has that video on her phone, and she sent that to me. And luckily, I'm so glad that I did not end up doing this. I did not end up yanking off to that video of her. I completely said, no, I'm not doing that. But what I ended up doing is, I was still desperate, bro. I still wanted some kitty. And that was a year ago. And I am way much more better than what I was. And also in the over-sexualized world, it's really hard to go ahead and be a virgin. And going back to the hood environment, like the environment that I grew up in, the hood, if you're seen as a virgin, bro, you're seen as a loser, like you don't get some. That you're not that guy. And unfortunately, that is not true. That is not. But you get that sense of feeling that's how it is. And I have known so many guys that went down poor decisions, man. I even lied about doing it, man. I even lied about doing it to one of my friends. And I feel like that had a huge impact on him making poor decisions later down the line. He got with a girl, and he was staying with her. I don't know how, but he was staying with her. It's the same as that guy that's gonna go ahead and send me the videos of him going crazy with his girl. He said he was going crazy with her multiple times a day at her place. And to her family situation, the girl that he was going crazy with was staying with her grandparents. And that's also crazy too. The over-sexualized of today's day and age, is that guys hit and dip, that guys are not building great relationships with girls, and that guys are just chasing instant pleasure. I even watched that video about body count, that this guy was interviewing girls, and a lot of girls had higher body counts than boyfriends that they had. And I'm not here to go ahead and blame them. I'm here coming from the guy's perspective of trying to go ahead and chase that instant pleasure, to go ahead and chase that validation. We like to go ahead and pinpoint like the over-sexualized world, being on social media, being on girls, but guys are also, you're a part of it. You are. And you try to go, since you can't control your dick, like Josh Giddey, for example, on why did Josh Giddey do that? He did like a picture of him having like a peace sign with some supposedly I can't say it on YouTube, but Josh Giddey. And so many guys are making poor decisions because they're thinking what they're thinking down there. And that's not the way to go ahead and live life, bro. But as well as the scams too, man. There's so many guys getting scammed out of their meat pictures, out of them being lonely in this hyper-sexualized world. So many guys are getting scammed, getting blackmailed. I knew this person was trying to go ahead and scam me in the first place, because I knew if a girl was giving it to me this easy, giving her a number, texting me first, I knew something. I knew something was up. I had to say little. I had to say not that much. And guess what? This person ended up tried to go ahead and scam me. Of course, I did end up sending a couple of pictures of myself. But what the scammer ended up doing is the scammer ended up getting some other dude's meat picture, which I said to the text messages, and they're like, "You gave me a huge rocket," and that's a huge, actually, really kind of huge for me. That's a you making me actually look good, and that was the funny thing with that. But yeah, she, I almost got gypped. Of course, I, since I already knew what was happening in the first place, I sent it to my friends, because I knew that this person was trying to go ahead and trick me. But yeah, man, it's just I'm 3 weeks. I'm 3 weeks of now going down the sites. I'm 3 weeks of being clean, and I'm starting to go ahead and view life just way much more differently and how it should be viewed, and starting to connect with especially more girls the way that it should be in the first place. Well, fortunately, a lot of things are just hypersexualized, and guys are making poor decisions. Guys are also playing a role into it as well. They like to go and complain about the girls being hypersexualized, where they're doing the same exact thing as well. And once you actually get a sense of control of this, and you start to realize that, yeah, that's not the way to go ahead and view life, that you actually go ahead and try to go ahead and tackle those things, you become a much more dangerous person, because you're not going down those paths no more. You become someone who is not a slave to the kitty. You become a person who's not a slave to these sites, who's not a slave to these companies. And once you get that, bro, you become really powerful, man. And that's the whole entire thing, man.